This video is in reply to the video ad that Thomas put up about me. A lot of my followers have been spammed by this advert. You may be one of those unfortunate people who have been targeted by this ad and have had to watch Thomas's adverts again and again and again. Now, what I'd request for you guys to do is, once you watch this video, head over to the SixPackAbs YouTube channel, go to the video and then sort by history. When you sort by history, you'll see that actually it's not his channel. He's a hired bodybuilding actor. He's probably not even written the things he's saying. The reason I know this is because if you go through the history of the channel, Mike Chang, who a lot of people know from YouTube because he again spammed YouTube.
What's up guys, this is Mike Chang.
Was the co-founder of that channel. Once he sold out, the original co-founder took over the channel. And as you'll see from this clip, Thomas wasn't on this channel up until more recently, where he was a hired actor to come on and talk about how he manages his bodybuilding within his other career of recruitment. This is where Thomas comes in 2016, and he is advertised as a fitness model and talks nothing about intermittent fasting. You'll also notice other faces who are on the channel and flopped.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you there. Hey guys, this is Nate with SixPackShortcuts.com. What we want to do, guys, is I want you to start off by saying this in the very beginning of the morning. Look at yourself in the mirror, pose your guns, and tell yourself you're a badass, okay?
Thomas hasn't. He's made them a lot of money, so that's why they continue to employ him as an actor.
One of the most difficult things in trying to maintain a career while still trying to look your best and achieve an optimal state of health is really just putting it all together and not losing focus on one or the other. My name is Thomas Delauer, and you might recognize me from the cover of magazines like Iron Man, Muscle and Performance, just to name a couple.
Also noticed that the channel changed their name more recently. Now that you can see that Thomas was actually an actor hired by the channel, the story becomes a bit clearer. Now, why would the channel change their name? Why would they hire different actors over time until suddenly somebody helped the channel to grow? Because after Mike Chang left the channel, it started to die and plummet. The reason is because they want your money, and there's nothing wrong with capitalism, but there is something wrong with potentially lying to people to pry away their hard-earned money. And we're going to go into evidence for this in the next clips. Before we do that, here's some proof from the founder himself to say how they were closed down several times by Google because of scam and spam content.
Something would happen where we would receive a site violation or the account would be suspended. And obviously as an advertiser, that's a real distressing situation.
Now, the first point to show you that this is pretty much all a lie is his story. Now, his story in his own words is, I was focused on my career. I didn't realize, I didn't have the awareness. So he wasn't actually aware he was on a bad road and wasn't healthy. He let his health go. Now, these are his own words, as you'll see from the video, and then as you'll see from the clips after that, he says the exact opposite. He says from age 10 or 11, he was running marathons, and his parents brought him up so that he was always aware of health and well-being. He was always training, he was always exercising, and the reason he was larger was because he was training to be a professional bodybuilder, which he did do. He became a fitness model, and that's what happened before they recruited him.
In my wildest dreams. See, I was 280 pounds. I was busy working on my career. I was busy focusing on money, but in reality, I'd let my health completely go by the wayside. It was an extreme struggle in so many different ways. In fact, while I was living it, I didn't even realize it. It wasn't until I started to get in shape that I realized how miserable I was.
I've always been totally driven when it comes to anything. I'm very one-track mind. I ran my first marathon when I was 11 years old. And I'd run dozens throughout high school. Sure. And that's how I got into bodybuilding.
For someone that's been a bodybuilder for a long time.
I grew up at a very young age. My mom had always instilled in me to be healthy. We were always outside, we were always playing. So it just sort of developed as I grew.
The reason this is clearly evidence that he's misleading people is because, first of all, he says that in all of his story videos, his life was an extreme struggle. He was terribly overweight and he suffered all of the things that we potentially, those of us who've been overweight, have experienced. And then in his old videos, when he was interviewed as a bodybuilder, he says how he has no regrets, how he didn't put on fat, he put on clay mass, which is his own words. That's not a medical term. And that he was doing this as part of his journey to be a professional bodybuilder. Why would he say one thing in one interview and something completely different in another interview? The reason is because he wants, and the channel wants, your money.
Stretch marks are not fun. They're not fun because people make comments. They're not fun because you have to look at them every day. Now, there's been a lot of talk about my stretch marks lately, and it probably stems from the fact that I created a video that really called them out. I went from 140 pounds to 280 pounds in just a couple of years.
She's got two of you.
Yeah, that's what it was. I wanted to be a bodybuilder. I wanted to get as big as I possibly could.
And in order to get your money, they need to be relatable. They need you to believe that you and them are one. You went through the same struggles so that they understand your struggles and they have the answer for you. It's a simple tactic to get your money. This point is where it gets really interesting. So not only does he say that he is qualified to give health and well-being and nutrition advice because he's a recruitment officer.
A little bit of my background too. Background is actually in psychology, but here's how I learned a lot of my nutrition knowledge, and it's important that you know this. I come from a healthcare background, okay? So I was a physician recruiter and an executive recruiter for a long period of time.
But he also goes on to say that just because somebody's a doctor, it doesn't mean they know what they're talking about. Now that is dangerous. I mean, surely Google has some T's and C's to prevent people from making statements like that. Specifically when the advertisements and the things that he's selling within those same videos have terms and conditions on the website that say, do not take this product without consulting your doctor. Google, you need to stop people from making these claims.
Wait a minute, just because the medical community always says it's right, doesn't mean that it's the best way.
You may think, Thomas, he's a great guy, he gives loads of people free advice, lots of people have lost weight, what's the harm in him making some money off this? Now, I don't have a problem with people making money. However, there's an issue when people are being taken advantage of. Now, what makes Thomas qualified on giving advice about intermittent fasting? Now, he does not even do intermittent fasting. If you look at his own interviews, although he gives advice on one of his videos about intermittent fasting, when you look at his old interviews, he explains what his diet is, which is effectively a no carbohydrate diet or a low carbohydrate diet where he eats fish and asparagus and coconut oil. And he does this because he wants to look the way he does, which is good luck to him in terms of long-term health implications, but it sells products, so I'm sure he's not fussed.
I hate eating every 2 hours, and I encounter so many people that do as well. It's boring, it's lame. You have to devote your entire life to living out of Tupperware. You almost become a prisoner to your own physique. You're a prisoner to what you want to accomplish with your body.
How many times a day do you eat?
So generally speaking, it ends up being about 5 times per day. When I'm cruising just along through the year and I don't have any magazine shoots or anything like that, like, you know, next week I'm shooting a couple of covers, so my diet's a little bit different, but generally speaking, I like to keep it low carb just because I like to keep the water.
I agree with you, I agree.
And for me, it comes down, I do a lot of video, so for me, if I'm consuming carbs, my face bloats.
Yeah.
And I don't like that for video.
Right.
So
Now my issue with this is, should you be the expert on intermittent fasting when you don't do intermittent fasting? And when you actually do a different diet, which is a low carbohydrate bodybuilding diet where you eat 5 to 6 meals a day. If you really want to help people look like you, why don't you tell them what you do? Finally, I get comments saying that, have you bought his product like he urges you to do in his advert because he has a 30-day refund policy? Now, I actually was quite sold by his advert. It was very convincing, and I understand why people get roped into his products. However, sorry, not his products. Now, I looked into the terms and conditions of his products, and it was alarming that anybody would purchase this crap. Why would I purchase apple cider vinegar pills for $250 when I can get it for £12 from my local health food store? And why would I take something that they say could cause me harm They say they have no proof that works, and they say most people actually gain weight taking their products. Now, this is their own terms and conditions. I would urge you to go to the website where it gives you an option to buy. You'll see the terms and conditions below. If you are one of those people who are unfortunate enough to sign up to their mailing list in order to buy a product, you will be spammed. As you'll see, I receive emails every single day with clear lies like, Thomas has said to give you this special offer and it's the final chance. I mean, if it's the final chance, why do I get this email every single day? Intermittent fasting is actually a great tool to lose weight. I've used it myself to lose 2 stones, and I've coached thousands of people. The reason I was such a big advocate of intermittent fasting is because I want to get that tool into as many hands as possible, because I think millions of people could lose weight and it could impact that person and it would impact their family if they're healthier. So the science aspect of intermittent fasting is true. Some studies have been twisted by this company in order to make you buy the product. And when you look at the references that they cite, they're mostly animal studies that have nothing to do with the protocol of intermittent fasting that they're talking about. Apple cider vinegar studies, again, are very selective. They're animal studies and they show improved blood sugar regulation in people who have diabetes, not the general population. It's really important that you actually read the studies yourself. Don't believe people just because they say it's science-based or that they cite lots of references. Click into the references and actually see whether the studies are relevant. The best thing about intermittent fasting is that it's free, and Thomas has completely wrecked that. By ripping people off, it will potentially put people off intermittent fasting. You can't sell intermittent fasting. Somehow, SixPackAbs, or Six-Pack Secrets as it's formerly known, has been able to market intermittent fasting and sell it to you through worthless apple cider vinegar pills. The technique is good, the information is good, but don't get ripped off. I hope you found this video helpful. I produce videos on intermittent fasting on a regular basis. Please subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, let me know what you think. And Thomas, if you have an issue with anything I have said, you can leave a comment, you can send me your email address, you can call me directly, my number is on the internet, and we can have a chat about the issues. If you're out there to actually help people, then let's have a conversation about this and let's see where we differ in opinion and how we can move forward in order to try and get the mutual goal of helping people, if that is your goal.
Excuse me. Now, interestingly, I've never had a follow-up, so I have been sending those photos off and I get a reply saying, thank you for sending your photos. But, you know, I'm 6 weeks into a 12-week program and no one's called me again. There's really been no follow-up at all.